Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lina and I'm your Russian teacher. Russian prefix ПО is the most common and popular prefix in Russian. We add it to nouns, adverbs, but most often we use it with verbs. And that's what interests us the most in today's lesson. I'm gonna share with you all the situations where we add this prefix ПО to our verbs. And not only verbs of motion, but any other verb in the Russian language. The first situation is when we add the prefix ПО to describe the result of the action. By adding this prefix, we simply create a perfective aspect of the verbs. If you don't know anything about verbs aspects in Russian, you can study my course on Udemy, where I explain to you in details what is it, how to use it, how to form it. So study this course if you didn't do it yet. In short, I can tell you that perfective verbs describe the result of the action and imperfective verbs describe the process of the action. Here, as we create perfective aspect, we simply create the result of the action. Like this we can say завтракать, позавтракать, смотреть, посмотреть, есть, поесть. Я уже позавтракал. I finished this action already. Or ты уже посмотрел этот фильм? Also, I'm asking about the result. If you watched it, if you finished watching this movie. The complicated part here is that not only prefix ПО we add to create this perfective aspect and result of the action. As you might know, there are many different prefixes and also suffixes, how we can transform imperfective to perfective. For example, слышать, услышать, делать, сделать, читать, прочитать, включать, включить, отдыхать, отдохнуть. You see how many different forms we have. And the problem is that you never know how to make perfective aspect from imperfective if you don't know these forms by heart. That's why we need to memorize all these forms in order to know them perfectly. What happens when you suddenly see one of the previous verbs that I gave you, but with the prefix ПО? Like прочитать, the original perfective form, you can see as почитать. Or сделать, you can meet the form поделать. What does it mean? Here, in this situation, we add ПО, or we replace our official prefixes with the prefix ПО to describe a short action. So when you're doing something for a little bit, like this we can say «Я почитала книгу немного». So you see, I'm not saying «Я прочитала книгу», because if I say «прочитала», I take the original perfective form of the verb читать, which means the result of the action, finished action. And if I say «Я прочитала книгу», it means I finished the book. So I was reading, it's also perfective aspect when you add prefix ПО, but it's not the result of the action. Here, prefix ПО means just a short period of time. Again, another complicated part here is that we cannot add this prefix ПО to all verbs that exist. For example, by the same logic, we cannot say повидеть, послышать. These words, they don't exist. So every time when you want to create this short amount of time action, better that you check if this word exists. So you can just put this word in Google and you will see if you have some examples with this word. If you don't have any example, then this word doesn't exist. That's the hard part, but majority of verbs you can transform into these short verbs, short actions. Порисовать, поиграть, попеть, пописать. All these verbs, they are just a short amount of time. If you have the verb that originally has the prefix ПО to describe the result of the action, it can be used with the same prefix, obviously, ПО, like посмотреть, but in the meaning short time. So here you will have to add the word немного. Я немного посмотрела фильм. and the phrase «я посмотрела фильм» are different, because «я немного посмотрела», I watched it a little bit, but «я посмотрела фильм» without any additional information, you finished the movie. Then we also can add «по» to the verb when we want to change its form. Some of the verbs, like verbs of mood or verbs of shape, we can add this «по» to try to change it a little bit. For example, I can say «я покраснела» or «вдруг я покраснела». Suddenly I blushed. So my color, my face color was normal, but then I became red. So it changed. The color changed, my condition changed. And when you're adding this «по», it's an easy way to describe how something changed. Many different examples we can give here. Поумнеть, потолстеть, похудеть, пожелтеть, погрустнеть, повеселеть, повзрослеть. You see all these verbs that you somehow can change, you can change by adding «по» to them. And for the last part, let's discuss verbs of motion, because usually when you're trying to find the meaning of the prefix «по», everywhere you see only verbs of motion. But as you could see from my previous examples, it works not only with verbs of motion, it works in many different ways. But when you have this prefix «по» with verbs of motion, first part, when you have one directional verbs of motion, like идти, ехать, лететь, бежать, плыть, when you're adding prefix «по» to these verbs, it will mean the beginning of the action, when you start doing these actions. Я побежала. I started to run. I ran. Я пошла. Also, I started my motion. I started to walk, or I went. Like this, you will add it, and it will always mean the beginning of the action. But if you add the same prefix «по» to the second group of verbs of motion, multidirectional verbs of motion, like ходить, ездить, плавать, бегать, here, again, it will mean a short action. Я побегала 5 минут и устала. You see, I ran for 5 minutes. It was a short amount of time. Or я походила по парку. Also, it means that you walked just a little bit. That's what we need to remember, and we always need to differentiate one-directional verbs of motion and multi-directional verbs of motion. And that's it. I hope I answered all your questions about this prefix «по» in Russian. As I said, we can also add it to nouns, adverbs, and always it has some different meaning. So this «по» is very common. That's why actually when you're opening some Russian dictionary, you will see how many verbs we have that start from the letter P, or this prefix «по». That is simply the most common Russian prefix. Thank you very much for watching, subscribe to my channel and learn Russian with me.